Welcome to Phantastic Feast. I'm your host, Phan. Today we are going to make a very nostalgic and very traditional dessert from Vietnam. It's called Chuoi, and basically what it is bananas. You layer bananas, coconut milk, fresh coconut shreds, and then peanuts, and then you put it in the freezer, and then 4 or 5 hours later you have a dessert that people can enjoy. And what I like about it is it's all natural. Everything is really fresh, and it doesn't have too much added sugar to it, so it's something you don't feel too guilty about giving to your kids, and it's something a lot of people grew up with. But without further ado, we can get started. What I want to show you first is you'll need some coconut milk, and you will add some sugar to that to sweeten it up, and then also some tapioca starch to thicken it up. And we'll do that first, so then we'll let it cool, and then all we do is just slice, dice, and then layer. So let's go over here and we will start that. I actually really like this brand, Savoy Coconut Cream, because it's very creamy, and I discovered this because my mom discovered it, and whatever mom discovers is pretty legit. But I do find that this brand is very creamy, so I like using it for this. Next, we'll make the tapioca slurry. This just is a thickening agent. If you don't have tapioca starch, you can use cornstarch, but tapioca is the preferred one. You could buy it at most Oriental food markets. You want to make sure you do this so then it doesn't become like coagulated or clumpy when you add the tapioca starch into the coconut milk. Okay, that should be good. You just want to make sure you continue to stir it so it doesn't burn at the bottom. And this dish calls for a little bit of sugar, but depending on how much sugar you like, you can make it sweeter or not. But I find that the bananas, when they're ripe, they're already so sweet, so I only add about a teaspoon. Or maybe just do 2 teaspoons, just so it has a little bit of flavor. Just mix it up. What I also like about this dish is that there's really no true recipe. It's however you want or whatever you like, because we use peanuts traditionally, but if you like almonds, you can use almonds. No one's going to say no. If it's what you like, then you can add it and put a spin to it. I actually use jackfruit in this dish because one of my friend's moms used it one time, and I thought, oh my god, that's a great addition because I like jackfruit, and from then on I started adding jackfruit to it. Yeah, you'll see it thickens up right away. So after about a few minutes, about 5 minutes, I'm going to take it off the heat so it cools, so then we can start layering it. And in the meantime, we'll cut up all the other ingredients to get it going. Smells so good. Okay. I'm just going to pour this coconut milk here into this bowl. And let it cool down for a little bit. In the meantime, I'll start cutting. I have here fresh coconut shreds that I cut myself from the actual coconut. I actually cut it myself, but this is something you can buy very easily at the supermarket, and it's frozen. And once you just defrost it, you just put it in a bowl and take out the water, the excess water, and it makes life a lot easier than having to do it by cutting it yourself. But I happen to have it, and this is jackfruit, and for some of you, some people love it and some people cannot stand it because it smells to them like durian, which is a very offensive fruit to some. But again, it's an acquired taste. Some people love it. I happen to love it, and my friend's mom put it into her Chuoi, and I thought it was a great addition, so I like to add it into mine whenever I have jackfruit. So right now it's in season, and I don't know how they survive, but it's so cheap right now. It's about 2 pounds for $1. So after peeling it, I like to cut these into thin shreds so that you can layer it onto the Chuoi. And of course, if you don't have this or you don't like it, there's nothing missing. Purely preference. So this dish is not hard at all, and it's just an assembly line. So once you have everything sliced and diced, it only takes a couple minutes to get things going. You know, there's a lot of ways to make this. It's super easy. You can forego adding sugar into the coconut milk. It comes down to preference. I've made this way, and I liked it, and it's been well received, so that's how I do it. I find that usually when I cook, I don't really go to the supermarket thinking, hey, this is what I want to make. I'm going to go buy this and that and make that. Sometimes I do have a craving, but generally what I cook depends on what's in season and what I can find. If I go to the store and I see jackfruit that's on sale, or if I see something that is super fresh and I have to have it, then I'll think of something to make from that. But it has worked for me. But you know, sometimes people like plans, but I personally like to see what's available and then plan from there. Okay. Okay. Now all your chopping is done. So I have my jackfruit and I have my coconut ready to go. Now I'll show you the bananas. So these are called Thai bananas, and I personally think they're the perfect size, and I love the consistency. They're a little bit more viscous than the regular bananas, so they're not as crumbly. And these you can find usually at the Asian supermarket. There's apple bananas, but these are Thai bananas. They're a little bit different, although they look the same. Conversely, you could also use just regular bananas like the Chiquito ones that you see at the store and cut those in half, but I find these are the perfect size and the sweetness. Even though you see black marks on them, it doesn't mean that they're too ripe or not good. Actually, you want that because the banana is super sweet, so it's got more flavor. So I would use these over these because these are not quite as ripe, but they would work too. I have so many bananas. There's, you know, I can make a lot of things with this. But okay. For me, because I think of this as like an assembly project, I like to get it all going instead of doing it one by one kind of. So I like to peel the bananas so that they're ready to be squashed and layered. For me, I feel like this dish is such a bright and sunny dish. I don't have anybody who eats it and they're not excited to try something that is reminiscent of their childhood. Even if you didn't grow up in Vietnam, it's something that you can get acquainted and learn something about someone's culture through a very traditional but simple dish. I have here popsicle sticks. I like to use popsicle sticks so you have something to hold on to when you're eating it. You can also use skewers if you like. You can use longer skewers, but popsicle sticks work for me. So what you need also is saran wrap. Some people use parchment paper to actually do this. That's another option. I'll show you how to use that, but for me, I've always used saran wrap only, but the parchment paper is a little less messy. So I'll show you how to do that so you can have an option of how you want to do this. Now, if you're going to do the parchment paper method, I would suggest you cutting it. A rough cut, but so they're about this size and kind of like the size of the banana will fit in that way. Okay. So what we will do, take a piece of saran wrap, and put this here. Okay. So once you have your saran wrap and then your parchment paper, you'll take your banana, put it to the side, then you take your parchment paper and roll it over. Next, you're going to take either another cutting board to flatten it out, or you can even use a rolling pin. I think the cutting board is actually a little bit easier, so that's what I'll do. This. Okay, I just want to press it down. your banana is flattened like this. So I actually love dishes like this where it's so simple. It's, you know, you're not using the oven, you're not baking much, so it's something that you could do with your nieces, your nephews, or your kids, and have them be acclimated, I guess, to being in the kitchen, because it's something fun for them, and then they'll want to learn. And when it's time for college and they go away, they are not just eating ramen noodles because they know how to cook and fend for themselves, so to speak. So it's a fun one. Okay, so basically you fold the top over, fold this over. Just want to get it nice, so it's nice and tight. And the bottom here, we'll just pinch it up. Okay. Do a few more of them and then we'll put it in the freezer. Wait for them to freeze up. It's so tropical. Right, just brush it in. I love how natural this is, and it satisfies your sweet tooth craving. So instead of doing ice cream, which for those of you who are on a little bit of a diet, obviously with the milk and cream that's going to be a little bit richer, this is an alternative that is good too. So I'm going to put these in the freezer so that they can start to become popsicles, and then in about 4 hours when they're hardened, then we can take them out and eat them.
Pretty good.
This next dish that I'm going to show you how to make is super simple, and it appears my theme so far is just super simple. I like to do things that I can marinate and leave it overnight, and then the next day it's ready to go, so it makes it easy for me if I have to work, and then I can come home and it'll be ready to go. This is a 5-spice pork chop, and the way that I cook it, it is so tender and it's very tasty, and it's really good with like a bowl of rice or on a salad or something, because it's savory and it's just super simple. I love dishes that anybody can make because I'm not a trained chef, but I love being able to cook and have people over and, you know, impress them that they think that, you know, I know how to cook. So as long as it's something good and you can share it with people you love, then I think it's always going to be really good. So I have here, this is 6 pork chops, and at the butcher anywhere, it can be thin cut or thick cut, because what you end up doing is you fry it and then you cut it into strips, and so it depends on your preference, but this is kind of a medium one. I have a bowl for mixing, and with this you'll need garlic, shallots, you also need some oyster sauce, some agave nectar. You can use sugar, but I really like the agave nectar in there. Salt and pepper, and then a little splash of soy sauce in there as well. I love garlic, so I use a ton of garlic. So this is purely optional for you. If you like a lot of garlic, use as much as you want. You can never go wrong if you love garlic. It's never too overpowering in my opinion, but I also like to use shallots just to give it extra flavor. So let's cut that up and then put it all together and let it marinate, and then you can get going the next day when you are ready to cook it. Here. I have a mini food processor that I've had for about 10 years that I like to chop garlic and onions in, because I could do this by hand, but it'll take me about 30 seconds in the food processor, so that I totally prefer. So just give it a rough chop so it's not too big, and then I'll just add this. This is what you're looking for. It's a rough chop, so it's not too thin or too macerated, but just enough so it's chunky. I like chunky in this one, so this is what you're looking for. It's actually really funny because whenever I help my mom cook in the kitchen, she loves everything to be chopped by hand because obviously it'll be more uniform. When you use this, some will be smaller, some will be bigger chunks depending on where the blade hits it. But personally, I am not as picky, but my mom is more old school. But I prefer this. It makes life so much easier. So I'll just put it in a big bowl. I have the shallots and garlic in here. I like to mix the marinade in the bowl first, mix it all together, and then I add the meat. So then it's already mixed together versus sprinkling it on and then it's not uniform. So what we'll do next is add the oyster sauce. 4 tablespoons. Next I add 1.5 tablespoons of agave nectar. Then I add about half a teaspoon of salt. I like to use the Himalayan sea salt. And then I add cracked pepper. And this is all dependent on how much pepper you like. I like a lot, so I put in a ton of black pepper, but it's all preference with the pepper, it's optional. And then you add 2 teaspoons of the 5-spice powder. And 5-spice powder you can find in any Asian Oriental grocery market, and it's super fragrant, and it goes specifically well with chicken and pork. It's always been a winning combination for me to add it to these marinades. And then you mix it all together, and then you add the pork chops, and you want to make sure you give it a good rub. Just want to make sure that every piece of pork chop is marinated and has some of the sauce on there. And this is what you're left with. Because this is a very quick marinade, it takes only about half an hour for you to really get the flavor of it. But the longer you keep it marinated, obviously, the deeper the flavors will be. I like to keep it overnight as kind of an option for the next day if I want to make it for lunch or for dinner. But you only need about 30 minutes, and then you could put it in the frying pan. So I'm going to cover this up and put it in the fridge, and then we'll fry it up. So now that the pork chop has been marinating for about 30 minutes, we will take it to the pan and fry it up, and I'll show you how simple it is and how easy an option it is for a weeknight meal. So I'll just grab a pan. Okay. A medium-high heat. Give it a minute to heat up. I guarantee you these pork chops are going to be so tasty. About 5 minutes on each side. At this point, actually, I like to cut it. To cut these pork chops into strips, it just makes it easier to eat, and also you get to have more of a little bit of a charredness on each side of it. It smells so good. What I like is because the marinade is so gooey with like all the goodness of the garlic and the shallots, when you cut it up like this, it becomes a sauce for it. And then it caramelizes into such a nice color. It's super flavorful. You can see the color on that is gorgeous. And you just cook it until it's a nice even brown. And it smells super good. And then you're ready to go. It's really good. It depends on how, if you like it more charred, but look at this, it's just yummy. Okay, that's it. Turn off the heat. Okay, that's it. And turn off the heat. And that's it. There you have it. 5 spice pork chops, and I made that in under 10 minutes on the pan and 10 minutes to marinate. So it's one of the easiest dishes that tastes really good with a big bowl of rice. And then I usually like to eat it with just some cucumbers or a side vegetable. You can also add it as a topper for a salad, but super savory, super good, and something that anybody can make even if you're not a super chef. So thank you for watching, and we'll hope you join in next time. See you then.